Hey, so I wanted to talk about the whole right and wrong concept in martial arts. Okay, so we see a lot of movies or some movies where they talk about like the sword, what the sword was created for. So one party says the sword was created to do war and to kill people with. Okay, but the other side is basically the sword is just a tool, and the sword was created to protect what you love. Okay, so there's two distinct concepts between it. It's like, what was it created for war, or was it created for to protect what you love? Okay, so that whole concept is basically kind of like a right and wrong kind of thing, but um, let's now like look at that from a standpoint of when do you use martial arts, right? And why am I putting this online? Right? Where like anybody can learn it and basically think and use it, or use it for wrong as well as for right. You know, so like why am I doing it? Well, in general, I label all of the videos that I do as not for kids. Not because I think that the kids should not see it. I think that the kids should learn the concepts associated, and but realize that these are not toys. Like the sword that you have is not a toy. It's a tool, yes, but it's not a toy, and it can be used in a good way or it can be used in a bad way. Okay, and part of that whole concept is also like harnessing the dragon. Remember, I keep on telling you about like the alter ego, being able to turn on the martial art, turn off the martial art, right when you need it. So that whole concept also plays into the thought process of the individual using it. Okay, so many times you learn about like abusive relationships, right? And the abused individual, they could prevent it from happening, right? But mentally they just can't fathom themselves to do anything about it, so they basically let it happen. Okay, they're being abused. That doesn't mean that they can't wait till the individual falls asleep and they get a hammer and they smack them in the head. Okay, that kind of stuff can happen. It doesn't mean when the guy is sleeping or when he's unexpected and he's abusing her, that like when he's not looking she can't get like a knife and attack him or something like that, right? But a lot of times what happens is the abused is of the mentality that I'm doing something wrong. I'm not supposed to do that. It's illegal, right? A lot of times you see that in like abused mothers. But then when their child is now affected, a lot of times they snap, right? And then now they can go beyond their limitations and be able to use whatever they need to use, like a tool, or to attack their abuser to protect their child, because now in their mind they're saying they're right. Okay, so that's the most important thing, understanding that you're right, and because you're right you can do this, you can move forward with it. The sword is not to kill somebody, the sword is not to hurt somebody, the sword is to protect what you love. And the same way goes, as a mom, you want to protect what you love. You want to protect your child. You don't want your child to be abused as well. You don't want nothing to happen to them. And so because of that, what happens is you switch into this mind frame where I'm going to get this done. And that's kind of like harnessing the dragon, where when we are trying to teach the students, we're trying to teach them how turn it on and turn it off. Turn it on so you can use it when you need it, but turn it off when you don't need it. But also be of the opinion that when you do turn it on, you use it to its utmost efficiency. You're doing it because you're right. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting someone you love. You're preventing them from destroying you. You're preventing them from hurting somebody else. Okay? And that's the reason why you learn martial arts, right? Well, besides all of the other cool, nifty things you can do with it. But the whole intent is that you are trying to use a tool, which is the martial arts or a theory or a thought process, to be able to help the world or help yourself. Okay, you are right in that instance. You punching the guy, you were right. Why? Because that guy would have done something worse to you. You know, and the only real dilemma is going to be if you put down a dangerous creature temporarily, do you prevent them from ever standing back up, or do you give them a second chance to change their life and allow them to stand back up? That is the biggest call. What do you do? If you think that when they come back up they're going to attack you again, then it might be better to just leave them staying on the ground forever and not let them come back up. But if you think that they can change their ways, right, and move on, and you've made the world a little bit better, then I guess it's fine to let them go. So something to think about. You harness the dragon, turn it on, turn it off, but at the same time, change your mind as to when you're using it. When you do use it, you're using it because you need to use it, you have to use it. You don't second guess yourself, you just do it. You know, and the only time you second guess yourself is at the point where you determine, do they need to stand back up, or are you going to let them go? Good luck with your training.